The purpose of a business school education is not just do academic research, is to actually make impact. It's very important for you to combine good academic research with practice.
Welcome to the Leadership Initiative, where we explore the art and science of leadership through thought-provoking conversations with experts, thought leaders, and changemakers. Whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting out on your leadership journey, this podcast is designed to provide you with the tools and inspiration you need to lead with purpose and make a meaningful difference.
Hello and welcome to the Fisher Leadership Initiative podcast. My name is Chandrasekaran and I am here with Interim Dean of Fisher College of Business, Arvind Chandrasekaran. Dean AC, thank you for being here today.
Thank you again for having me.
We know you as Dean AC. You've done research, you have been an educator and a leader, and I'm just wondering if you could give us a little bit of background about how you ended up in this role.
Sure. Again, thank you for having me in this podcast. So I'm here. I was here since 2009. So I've been here at Fisher College in Ohio State. It's a home for me. It's been for 16 years since I came here. I came here as an assistant professor. I did my PhD in Minnesota, University of Minnesota. And a lot of my earlier work in my research is in the area of innovation. So I did a lot of work in the area of how companies really empower their frontline to innovate. What are the things that they should think about? What are the do's and don'ts? And I learned from the best, actually. So most of my work in the initial days were with companies like 3M, which, again, as some of you might know, is a company that is in Midwest of U.S., but really an innovation hub in how they create creativity and innovation. So I drew a lot on what's happening in companies like 3M, and there it was Medtronic, and Motorola was another example of a company that was doing well but did not do well. So I was able to compare and contrast what really went on. And I came up to the realization it's all about people and process. It's all about how do you manage people and process. So that line of thinking, when I came here to Ohio State, I started applying those lines of how do you combine the power behind people and process to innovation and operational excellence initiatives outside innovation in healthcare. So my earlier works as an assistant professor and an associate professor and all were in the area of how do you create more frontline management from healthcare professionals, and what are the things that hospitals should do? How do you create more support, leadership structure around those things and all? And I started doing this through a variety of resources, variety of methods. One is more with what I call engaged work with companies. So I've been working with various institutions, hospitals around the country to really study these phenomena. And then all of those things later on gave me the idea around the purpose of a business school education is not just do academic research, is to actually make impact and have impact on what you do directly with your practicing managers. And so around 2017 and 18, I was asked to do something along those lines of translating what you do as research back into making meaningful impact through workforce development initiatives in the college. So I started doing some of those things in the area of executive education, and one thing led to the other, and here I am. So it's a long journey, but the grounded aspect of this journey is simply the belief that as an academic scholar in a business school, it's very important for you to combine good academic research with practice. And that combination is essential. So you can't be a professor in a business school sitting in an office. You've got to go out there and actually work with practicing managers, hear their stories, and even do interventions that allow them to do better. And doing so will allow you to create more knowledge. So that's my path towards the leadership journey here, starting as an academic.
Thank you for that. It sounds like your leadership philosophy has really guided you throughout your career. Yeah. Has it changed since being in this role?
It actually made it even more firm. Right, so the idea around I keep one of the things I'm really thankful to all of my faculty and staff that I hear, because I believe in the idea of empowerment. People should empower their own things, and I believe in the idea of creating more engaged scholarship. So one of my mentors throughout my PhD and as a junior faculty here was a professor named Andy Van de Ven. So Van de Ven was a professor of organizational behavior at University of Minnesota, and he was a very well-known, he's no more, he's a very well-known proponent on the idea around engaged scholarship. You can't create theory out of thin air. You've got to actually work with practice to do that. So some of those thinkings, as a dean of this college, I'm really blessed to work with our faculty leaders here to say, how do we now put this in practice? How do we think about creating trifecta faculty? I'm really, I believe in this idea of trifecta faculty. Faculty are not only doing really good, powerful research, they're able to translate them and work with our practitioner communities in several different ways. Either write articles that helps them out to understand their research, or even do engage in executive education kind of opportunities, and then also serve the community. We are a land-grant institution here, and we owe it a lot to our wonderful state of Ohio. So how do we contribute back to the state in what you're doing as research? So that idea around engaged scholarship is reinforcing me as a dean to do more of trifecta kind of work, and appreciate faculty are doing that in our college.
Brilliant. And I think that hands-on approach and that holistic way of thinking about leadership is incredibly important today. I am curious what it means to lead a top public business school at a time of technological disruption. And I know you've studied this quite a lot, but AI and AGI seem to be changing our lives daily. And I'm curious, how do you navigate these changes?
I would actually look at this as how do you complement what's happening out there, right? Like it's not about how do I navigate it, because again, there are so many things that the AI can do that the humans cannot. And there are so many things that the humans can do that the AI cannot. I simply believe in that kind of a combination force, right? Like, so a couple of examples. So one of the things I view about is, again, the Ohio State University came out very strongly. The current president, the previous provost, came out strongly with the idea around AI fluency and creating bilinguals graduating from Ohio State. The same thing goes at Fisher College of Business. We're a part of Ohio State. So it's very important for us to think about our students not only good in their core business skills, but also good in what we call AI skills. But I would actually argue that to do that, you need to have more durable skills. So the thing that I would emphasize more for us and our students and our learning is, how do you create durable skills, right? Like durable skills meaning, like, how do you think about problem solving and problem framing? These are exercises, again, that AI, if you do it the right way, you're going to get the best bang for the buck from AI. If you do it the wrong way, you may actually be going into a hallucinated effect with AI. So how do I do that properly? Same thing with critical thinking. Again, the importance around how do I know what's the problem and what's a symptom of a problem? How do I understand deep cause thinking? How do I understand agile thinking? So the durable skills around critical thinking, problem framing, resiliency. When we talk about resiliency, and some of these things I clearly believe cannot be just taught in a class.
Right.
It has to be practiced. Leadership, in my opinion, cannot be taught. It has to be taught and practiced, and very important on the practice. So it's very important in this day and age of AI that our curriculum is combining that effort about how integrating AI into our classrooms, but also developing additional skills like the durable skills, which allows our students to really hone on critical thinking, problem framing, resiliency, so that they are the next generation leaders who are actually working with AI. So that's what we emphasize on. So I actually view this as not a fearsome thing. I view this as a great opportunity for us and our students and our faculty. We embrace this technology. Again, like the best disruptors are the ones that actually understand that disruption is a positive thing, not a negative thing. So it's very important for us to think about this AI change as a positive thing, and let's all change towards the way that we can help our students and our leaders, future generation leaders, to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that reframe for people who may feel a bit hesitant around the rapid pace of change. What do you perceive as the biggest challenges around building and sustaining high-performing teams today?
So the main thing that I view in anything is change is hard. right? Like, so for everybody, we all think about like, I've been doing this. And one of the things I even teach in my classrooms is like, again, if I ask somebody to change, the first response they're going to say is, I've been doing this for 35 years, right? Like, I don't know where they come up with that number, but it's always 35. It's not 23, it's not 44, it's 35 years. Yes. So clearly, again, and we're in an age where change is a habit. You have got to think about a habitual process of changing, but not just changing for the sake of changing using evidence, right? Like evidence-based change. So one of the things that I would say, which is very, very difficult to do, which we're trying to do, is how do I now align resources in the college, right? Like we have done, again, credit goes to our faculty leaders. We've done a phenomenal job of thinking about now rewarding faculty who can do these kind of trifecta work. Same thing goes with our amazing non-tenure track and senior lecturer faculty, what they're doing beyond the classroom. Now, how do I create those incentives that allow our people to now understand the power around what we should do and how do I change, right? That is very difficult, but I can tell you, like in any organizations, you're going to have like 30 to 40% of any organization. This is, again, the classic change management rules, that they're excited about this change. You have 20 to 30% that are resisting change, and in the middle are just like waiting to see, right? My hope is that, again, that we're having more and more people are exciting about these things, because the only way we can be the best business school in the country is not just by having one person, but having the community. And I think that community requires everybody to change, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you see there being any kind of AI opportunities to build that community and that engagement? Any technologies that you've seen that are doing that well in education right now? I
think, again, like every AI technology is there for us to enable things, right? Like you can do it, you can have community spaces and all. But I actually would argue you should have more and more of interpersonal connection to build that community. In fact, like one of the things I argue and what we try to do in our college is how do I create those interpersonal opportunities? So like, I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, our college decided that our assistant professors that are like untenured are the people that are going through a lot, right? They do a lot of research, they work hard, but sometimes they are in their domains. So a finance professor stays in the finance domain, a marketing professor. We wanted to create a community around them so there could be best ideas shared across disciplines. So we created, again, I want to give the credit to our faculty leaders and our Dean of Research Faculty, Rebecca Rizik. So she came up with this idea of saying, why don't we create opportunity spaces where we have people come in together and engage and collaborate. Yeah. And why don't we also create a learning around that thing? So we did our first one where we brought in an expert in AI, Srini Kaushik, to come in and talk about what does it mean to be AI fluent and how do you measure fluency? And then have a discussion with our junior faculty, the untenured faculty, to talk about how these can help you back in the classrooms and how you can use these tools back in your research and so on and so forth. That's what we need. We need more and more of, I would say, interpersonal collaborations. I know there are I thank all the department chairs in the college. We're trying to host every month kind of a social events where we bring in faculty from all over the college come together. Yes. We need more of those. We need to trust each other more. We need to bring people each other more. We are all one force. I think that is what is going to make us more unique. And of course, when you bring all these things and combining that with any tools, I mean, like it's kind of the tools are out there. It's only going to give you more powerful advantage over others.
Absolutely. And we find strength in that community and an ability to be more resilient and adaptive. So in higher education, over, let's just say, the next 5 years or so, what do you anticipate the greatest challenges and opportunities?
I would say the biggest opportunity in higher education is, again, like the idea around how do we remain much more relevant, as the knowledge source for our community. That's the most important thing that we want to think about. When everybody is going back to the same AI example, when everybody thinks that you don't need education, you have a ChatGPT or a Claude for it. I think it's important to understand what does education give you. So in my opinion, education is a way to actually be more curious. It's going to allow you to, it's going to give you certain domain expertise, but the whole idea around a 4-year degree or an advanced degree is to make yourself more ready for other challenges. So I believe in this philosophy around never stop learning, right? Like it doesn't matter whether you graduate with a PhD, you are constantly learning. That's what we all do all the time. So I think that is a very critical moment for us, is how do we now at Fisher College of Business create this place where everybody is staying curious and everybody is somewhat uncomfortable. I think it's important to say uncomfortable because we've got to push ourselves, including me, right? Like that's very, very important. So that is a bigger challenge for us, is how do I make sure that our community is always staying curious? Because we all like victories and we all like success stories, so we can always sit in the laurels of the past, but it's important to push ourselves because the field and the world is changing so fast that you cannot just say, okay, I'm happy. You can't be content. You've got to really push yourself. That's what we are trying here. I mean, I have developed for my own sake a set of scorecards and set of strategic priorities for the college. And again, the college knows about this. In every meeting that I go, I talk about this. But rather than just saying strategic priorities, what I have done is I've now made myself uncomfortable by saying, here are some bold goals on those. And I've given it to my leadership team to say, here are your goals on those, in a way that they are all having those goals as something that is going to make them uncomfortable, make them move towards. And I hope that that cascades down the organization to everybody here, because that's the only way we can strive success, is to make sure everybody is innovating, everybody is learning every day by having clear goals and clear visions and having an environment that they can all be successful.
Absolutely. That keeps people engaged in such an exciting way, too. I'd love to ask a little bit more of a personal question now. If you could go back to the start of your career, what leadership advice would you give your younger self?
So I would say that like there are certain things that I've picked up in my journey right now that I would say I should start doing from the beginning, right? Like, so I view as a leader things about daily reflection. So what I do every day now is to spend some time in the evening, 5 to 10 minutes. I do it at a dedicated space where I sit down and talk to myself about what went right, what did not go right, and how can I do better things tomorrow. It's a daily idea of, and I write it down so that way that actually registers in my memory. I think that is some skill set that I picked very recently. If I were to go back in time, I would say that makes me a continuous learner. I learn all the time. So daily reflection is something that I would say that I would advise myself to do it right from the day one. I would say skills like the idea around being humble and listen more. It's very important as a leader to listen more and talk less. I can imagine myself, if I were to reflect back on my younger days, I must have talked more. I think now I listen more. I think I still have opportunities to improve in my way, but listening skills, I would say go back and hone your listening skills. That's very, very important. I would say humility is absolutely important. I believe in absolute flat, less hierarchical institutions where we are all here serving our students, and it's very important to stay humble and be truthful with the fact. So that's something that I've always been, but I think it's important to never forget the past, right? Being humble is very important. So I would say listening, reflection, being humble. And the other thing is I like something I've picked up by other industry leaders is like what I call managing by walking around. Leading by walking around. So I take upon myself not to stay in my office, but just to like walk around, talk to people, understand what their problems are. That's something I started doing more right now. I mean, like I wish I could do more, like I would have done more in the past. So these are some leadership skills that I've picked up by following some of the best leaders in the world. And I would go back and advise myself saying, let's do those things from the beginning.
Fantastic. Do you have any advice specifically for our students today? Just tools or practices?
I would say grit. I would say one of the things I would say is like, I find a lot of our students sometimes are resisting failures or like don't want to fail. They always want to be comfortable and be successful all the time. You can't make progress by being successful all the time. So one of the things I would say for our students is, again, learn about like push yourself. I always say don't challenge yourself. And you are the only one who can determine what that next step for you is. We don't want somebody else to determine what your goals are. Push yourself very hard, but also don't worry about failures. Again, like I failed in so many times. I mean, like every now and then I try to do something, it doesn't work. But that is not something you take it personal. I mean, like you learn about it and you try to make sure that you don't do the same thing again, right? Like it's important to ensure that you learn some of those skill sets around like failing and pushing yourself. And also one of the things I always find, especially in this age of AI, is the human touch. Again, what do I mean by human touch is like the idea around empathy, the idea around integrity, the idea around ethics. I think these are some things our students have to be really, one of the proud thing that I view about like our business school, it goes back to our Max Fisher story, is the whole idea around ethical leadership, right? We are in a very important time of the time where we can do so many short-circuited things with AI and technology, but is it really ethical? Is it really the right thing to do? Will I do this to my mother, my brother, my friends, right? It's very important for us to be very much that ethically grounded person. So my advice to students is like be ethical and be respectful of each other. We are in a very challenging moment in our society where I think there is lots of hatredness coming around. We should all love each other. I mean, as humanity, that's one thing that's unique compared to robots. Is like we are empathetic and we should be loving each other. So I think those are skill sets that are very important as leaders develop in today's world.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that you would like to share with our audience?
I think I think we covered a lot. One of the things I will tell you is that we are in a very critical point of time. As a college, as a society, as a learning organization, I would say we are in a very critical point. One of the things I would say that we should all think about is more than what is in it for me, I would say what is in it for my people and what is in it for my students. I think our framing has to change. So one of the things I'm trying to do here myself is like I'm trying to make decisions based on why is it, whatever I make, is it helping my students? I mean, I keep saying this to my students. I don't know how others feel, but I don't have a job if I don't have my students here. So I want to make sure my students are well taken care of. So I want to make sure they're successful as they graduate. I want to make sure my community respects me to do that things. So I've tried to shift that framing anywhere I go to create, the college exists because of our students, and we are here to serve our students so that they are successful. And our students are very broad, right? It's not just undergrads or grads. We have executives, we have our workforce development with the company leaders and all. It's very broad. The main thing I want to communicate in this is that like we should all have that frame of mind. No matter what we do, you do some work, I do some work, but every work that we do, we should have that frame of mind to say, is it helping our college meets our purpose? And if not, how do I now rechannel our resources in a way it's helping us? So that is a very critical thing that I think we should all come together. And I've been trying to do this, and I thank my faculty and staff that they are really trying to come with me in this journey. But I really hope that, again, we are all moving towards, this is a wonderful institution. 16, 17 years I've been here. I can tell you there are so many mentors that I have right now. Everybody has taught me a lot. I view everybody helping me a lot in this journey. I think that community is very important. So as we think about the next 5-10 years here, that community is what is going to make us stronger.
Community here is indeed special, and thank you so much for leaving us with that message and for all your wisdom today.
Thank you again. Thanks for having me in this podcast.
Thanks again for listening. This podcast is presented by the Max M. Fisher College of Business at The Ohio State University. For more episodes, find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or podcast.osu.edu/leadership initiative. See you next time.